So it's almost 4 o'clock. I did get a couple of hours worth of sleep in. Again, it was more of a coffee thing. Um, that's I don't know about that. I'm obviously going to need to find a way to deal with the coffee without cigarettes thing. I don't know how to get around that, but I have put some socks on. I did shower last night. I have checked the weather. It seems reasonable, so I'm going to get something to eat and get myself prepared to head out to Detroit. What's with the snow? It's not so bad. Um, if anything, I think I'm more concerned about it being wet, and I don't think it's going to be so much of a big deal for the few hours that I'm out. So, yeah, something to eat, and get out of here. Ben Judah. That might be the most Jewish name ever. But the only way he got more to the Jewish than that was to be like Juicy Shoe. Juicy Shoe. Let's run with that. There's your comic skit. Keep it clean. Okay, so I'm just about to conclude that Mr. Shearhaber is indeed working for someone. I'm not totally there yet, and I gotta be careful because I don't want a lawsuit, but I would be thinking that that seems to be the case. I just watched a few videos on ISIS. Um, let's not really bother talking about where ISIS came from because this is a narrative. It's a narrative presented to us by uh, questionable sources, and we don't have a counter narrative, and it doesn't really matter where it came from. What matters is that it's there and what it wants to do. Um, I mean, the story that we're given about ISIS, it comes off as a founder myth, and that's fine. But you have to be skeptical with these sorts of things. When history starts looking like a story, is the point where you need to be a little bit skeptical. So let's ignore that part. Instead, let's look at the actual, the political situation. So he's presenting the argument here that the administration in the United States was being dragged into war by angry public opinion that wanted retribution for the beheadings that we saw on TV. So this is not a situation where, the government is bringing people to war. It's a situation where the people are forcing the government to go to war. He suggests that ISIS is not a threat to the United States, and therefore America should not become involved. Instead, America should sit back and wait for the regional countries to take the lead themselves. See, this is interesting to me because my analysis of the situation is certainly not that the people are dragging the government to war to begin with. That's an incredibly see. I don't want. I think you would basically have to have grown up in Israel to have that perception of people. I mean, I don't. I mean, where else in the world could you have grown up to have the perception that war is brought on by popular consensus and the government is? I mean, I can't even fathom that understanding of human beings. Um, let me just state the obvious, as somebody that lives in North America, that there has not been a push for war by the population. There have been anti-war demonstrations, and the idea of a war in Syria is exceedingly unpopular, as the other wars were in the region. This idea that um, Americans want a war in Syria is um, so disconnected from reality that it's hard to get your head around it. In fact, number one, you had the House of Representatives fighting against it. David Cameron lost a vote in his house. But I mean, it was the Russians. I mean, that's the generally understood perception of things is that the Russians said this isn't this is going to cause a huge war. Um, you know, I think everybody realized at the time that we were tumbling towards World War III, but the Russians really stood up and said, okay, if you do this, it is World War III. So, and it's widely understood that that's the reason why it didn't happen. Um, So it seems clear to I think everybody that the administration wanted a war here, was pushing hard for one, and was pulled back by outside forces. So again, I don't know how you construct this other perspective of things, other than if you're being fed information to promote some kind of a media narrative, or you're exceedingly naive. But there's only a certain point of naivety that is acceptable. At some point, you have to say, okay, this is obvious disinformation. Um, and he's suggesting that America should do nothing, that the bombing campaign can serve no purpose, and that they should allow the countries to fight with. What was he say? He thinks they would unite to fight a common threat. See, my analysis is that the reason that the Americans have been funding ISIS is because they're trying to inflame conflict in the region. It's a divide and conquer strategy. And so what they want is for the Turks and the Saudis and the Iranians to be fighting with each other, because that makes all of them weaker, right? So, I mean, that's my reading of the situation, and I think it's a pretty clear reading. Um, if you look at the kinds of things that they're doing, I mean, they're going after Assad. It's an American objective. They probably would have at least succeeded in, well, let me rephrase this. They have at least succeeded in switching the government in Iraq. Um, and it seems to all be very, very, very clearly aligned, mostly with Saudi goals. Although you've also got Turk goals there too, right? And Iranian goals. So, well, the Iranians are with the Syrians, and to a lesser extent with the Iraqis, right? So what you have happening in the region is not. I mean, the premise of the Turks and Saudis and Iranians working together to fight ISIS seems so divorced from what we know about what's happening on the ground, which is that the Turks and Saudis and Iranians are all fighting each other through proxy conflicts. One's supporting al-Nusra, and another one's supporting ISIS, and another one's supporting Assad, and it's this multi sided conflict that's developed. It's what's happening there, right? So I don't know how to square any of this other. I mean, there's always a possibility of extreme naivety, but in this particular circumstance, I think that the evidence is leaning very strongly towards disinformation. So we share, but I'm calling you on this bullshit. This is a cheese wrapper, and it is going into the garbage where it belongs. So it's around 7. I'll be heading out soon. I was staring in the mirror, trying to figure out, am I gonna put makeup on or what am I doing? And trying to get every little bit of last little hair off my face and everything, and it's kind of like, where I'm going, this is gonna be like. I don't want to say that there's not going to be any women there, but there's probably not going to be any single women there. And hence, it's maybe not the best show for me to bother with how I look as I go out there. Um, this is kind of an issue with this, right? It's You'll notice that the shows that I go to. I mean, I don't go to like death metal shows, but a lot of it is like kind of like doomy rock or like alternative rock, and it's um, certainly has a high ratio of dudes. And most of the females that are there. I mean, it's not to say that they don't enjoy the music when they're there, but they're mostly there with their boyfriends. It's not the kind of thing that single women really go to, and hence it's. See, I guess maybe if the guys that hung out there were my type, if you forget about the sexual orientation concerns, I'm I'm really all girl. It's the truth. I'm just kind of a um, I'm the girl next door kind of girl, right? I'm not high fashion, you know, which is actually probably closer to their type, but I'm not. They're not my type, so I've done this before in the past, and it's just I've kind of always just walked out feeling weirded out. You know, I might walk in tight pants and a tank top kind of thing, and I just get like I guess I would experience the same thing any single woman would experience walking into a show like that. I don't want to say that I got ogled because it wasn't really that bad. Um, like I say, it's not death metal. It's not, and it's not like douchebag metal or douchebag rock either, right? Um, which is probably the more concerning thing. Um, with louder types of rock music, you need to watch for the homophobia. That's what you need to watch for. The misogyny is really not that bad with metal. I mean, it's not good, but it's not singularly bad. It's the homophobia is singularly bad with metal. Uh, it's the culture. Um, Basically, they're idiots, but they exist, and you just. I mean, I don't want to hang out there, so I don't. You know, I mean, even if it wasn't like, even if they were more accepting, I don't enjoy that kind of music. Right? It's music for guys that are letting out all their testosterone, and it's just not my thing. I like adrenaline, right? So I like punk rock that moves fast and gets your heart rate up, kind of thing. I enjoy that. And what I'm going to see tonight is more of like a dirgy kind of. It's a band called Disappears. They've moved around with their sound a little bit, but it's no wave in the broadest sense. So influences are coming from bands like Sonic Youth, Swans. Um, it may be a younger band that's more comparable would be Cloud Nothings, sort of. Cloud Nothings are more punky, catchier for sure. This is kind of more if you took that kind of sound and you kind of slowed it down a little, but not too much. It's got kind of. It also has the kind of a shape of almost like a post rock kind of a shape. I mean, it's mostly not instrumental, but like the kind of um, song structures that you'd get out of a lot of '90s rock. And when I say that, I mean like more low key '90s rock, um, post rock, or some of the indie rock that came out of the Midwest, not the emo stuff. It's kind of maybe mathy a little. I The truth is that no wave is the best term, but no wave in the same way that no wave applied to a band like Slint. I went over this on the Slint page. It's now been removed as I removed my Death to Koalas profile, but like Slint for like 90% Sonic Youth, right? So I mean, anything that you give Slint credit for, pretty much everything except there's a specific guitar style that they do, but almost everything that you give Slint credit for, you should really give Sonic Youth credit for, because almost their whole sound was taken from Sonic Youth. Um, the truth of it, right? This band is kind of somewhere like kind of in the same lineage. Um, I think shellac is is kind of more like what I'm thinking of. Maybe Big Black, not less Big Black. Big Black had all those big stupid riffs in them, right? Shellac was a bit toned down a little bit more cerebral. Um, Point being that I mean this is it's not entirely a dude show, but it's mostly a dude show. So I don't really see much of a desire to make myself look pretty. Really, I'd rather kind of tone myself down and just not draw attention to myself. It's a situation where I don't really care what gender you think I am. I'm there to see the show. I'm gonna show up. I'm gonna have a couple of beers. I'm gonna watch a couple of concerts, and then I'm gonna go home. I don't really want any sexual attention, and I don't really want my sexuality to be kind of a focus of attention. I just kind of want to go in and watch the show and go home. The reason why it's kind of a little bit more conflicting is because I mean it's the only time I ever go out. So I mean it's natural to want to look pretty when you go out somewhere. And if that's the only time I'm ever going out, then that's you know. Um, the flip side of that is that there's also kind of safety issues. I mean, I'm walking around downtown Detroit. Um, forget about the camera. Be careful with my ass here. And it's the truth. It's, I mean, I don't, I just need to be, it's just the facts. It's a higher probability of danger than most other places that you're walking around in. So, if I start going to see, and that's the other thing is that it's not the right kind of shows, right? So I haven't really had a lot of shows where I might bother with. A show that came through last year was St. Vincent, although I missed it because I didn't have my paperwork yet. That's a show that I probably would have, maybe spent a little more time with because I would have been a little bit more invested in feeling like it was a place I would want to look pretty at, kind of thing. But going to see a sludge rock show it's not sludge rock, it's no wave. It's punk, psych stuff. But still, it's gonna be mostly guys. They'll probably be smoking joints there, kind of thing. So that's kind of more what it is, right? So I'm not really that concerned. If anything, I'll probably fit in if I just don't wear makeup, because most of the women that are there are going to be wearing very minimal, if any. So, again, it's sometimes I get this kind of feeling like, what's the point of being transgender? Like, how has my life changed? It hasn't. But I just kind of have to pull back and say, okay, well, it hasn't because I'd already, like before I had even taken hormones, I had kind of already transitioned, and it's just who I am. Like I'm not, hyper effeminate, girly kind of archetype of the transgendered person. I'm a regular gal kind of thing, and I'm gonna act and do things like a regular gal, with the caveat that I'm maybe a little bit more independent, maybe a little bit more more of the traditional, I guess, 90s lesbian, but I wouldn't even identify as that. Um, I just identify as a normal gal. It's just a constant. It's just a sum total of life experiences. Um, this is something I've always done. I'm not going to stop doing it. That wouldn't make sense. Um, like that would be sexist in a strange way. That would call into question why I'm even doing it. It would be like chaining yourself to your wall, and giving society a paddle. It would be very, very masochistic and strange. So I'm not doing that. I'm going out. I kind of wish I lived a little nicer, but I kind of don't at the same time. So the other focus tonight is I need to ensure that I'm not having any cigarettes. I'm already feeling the pull, but the reality is that the show starts at 9. It's a little after 7 now, so I'm gonna want to catch the 8 o'clock bus. And I'll be back, before 1. So, well, I mean, there's only 2 bands playing, so I can't see them. And the DJ set after, so I can't see them playing later than, midnight kind of thing. So, I mean, I have to be out of there by 12:30, so, I mean, it's not even really a serious option to stay late kind of thing. So, yeah. That's, it's only a couple hours. If I was going to be up all night, I could see myself, really pushing for it. But I really don't. I want to ensure no cigarettes. That's my goal. With one caveat that I'm going to allow myself, and that is if I find myself walking into a situation where somebody's handing me some Christmas presents, then I might have to cave. And that's contextual. But only if it's in that context. Only. So yeah, that was a bit of a longer pre-show rant than I wanted. But I think those are some things we had to talk about, and I'm out of here. I forgot that this is the first time we've ever come up this way. So, this is where I got off there. That's the bus station I was at, which you don't want to stay at too long. We saw that, I guess, when I went to see Puppy. And we're heading up Michigan Avenue. It's a shorter walk than it was up to the Trumbleplex, although not by much. I'm gonna kind of go up a little bit here. I'm gonna go over a freeway, and then I'm there. So it's really quite short. I caught the bus right at the last minute there. I almost had to wait a half hour, so I'm actually running a little bit early, which is unusual, but it's a fluke that I happened to catch it right as it was coming out. It's not cold, but it's too cold for this, so I am going to turn this off and put it back in. It's the Institute of Bagelology. You get your Bachelor of Bagels. This is actually an old place, and I'm here now, so it was literally, like I say, over a bridge and you're there. It's a 10-minute walk, so it's nothing.
43 short story, the Gold Glove College.
I seem to have caught the end of quiz night here at the pub. Hopefully that clears itself out soon enough. So, I mean, there's no door guy. I don't know. I think I'm too early. So it's about 11 o'clock, and the opening band has not started yet, meaning it's increasingly looking like this is an overnight. I did have a couple of cigarettes, because I kind of forgot why I quit smoking. It's kind of strange. I forgot that it had to do with the blood clot issue, and so I've been kind of freaking out all night. It's not likely that I'll have any more, but it's weird how you can forget important details, like you quit smoking because you were concerned about blood clots and then smoke again. Anyways, that kind of hit me like a side, just the realization kind of hit me over the head. It's not likely that I'll relapse further for the night. Anyways, so like I say, it's about 11. The opening band has not started yet, so this looks like an overnight. It doesn't seem so cold. We'll see how this works out. Good show. Glad I went. But I'm pushing it for time. The clock in the bar said 12:50. If that's the case, I gotta rely on my speedy feet here, and I need to essentially fly to the bus stop. Last bus comes at 1:09. Can I do it in 20 minutes? See, the thing is, I think I can. However, My phone, which I have more faith in because I checked it against time.gov before I left, says that it's 12:40, indicating that I have a half an hour, which is more than enough time. And if we introduce an aspect of error and we suggest that it's in between, what that means is that I'm rolling some die. I'm taking a gamble. I could have left a little earlier. I did catch the whole set. I know it's the whole set because he said it was his last song. I may have missed an encore, but I can't. I hope I didn't miss an encore, but I'm not sure an encore was worth it. Like I say, it was a good show. I'm glad I went, but I'm more concerned about getting home right now than I am about sitting around maybe waiting for a possible encore. And that 2 minutes might make the difference. We'll see. I generally, when they say it's their last song, they mean it's their last song. If there's going to be an encore, they stop and then they come back. And it's a bar, like, don't do encores in bars. That's lame. Anyways, like I say, I'm going to put this away. It's not that cold out. It's actually quite nice. The wind has come down a little bit, or perhaps I'm slightly inebriated. It's hard to say. I think I need to have both hands available in case I slip. It's a little slippery too. So I'm putting this away. Okay, so it is now between 12:52 and 1:02. No doubt much closer to 12:52, and I am on Griswold. The bus is supposed to go to Rosa Parks at 1:04 and hit the bus station at 1:09, which means I have successfully cut the bus off. And if I do not get to the bus station before 1:09, which I believe I will, then the bus should at least drive by me. If this does not happen, then I am documenting evidence that the bus is late. Sorry, the bus is not late, but the bus is early. This is the road up here. I can't remember what it's called, but it's the big one. Like I said, I believe it's probably maybe 12:53 now, probably not 12:54. Meaning the maximum time is 1:04. And the bus should at most be at Rosa Parks at the moment. Like we see. Like I say, we shall see. Okay, so according to my clock, if you can see that, if I can swing it up and focus in the snow, that should say 12:59. You can see the 1, 2, and the 5. If we accept that it may be the case, let me put my focus back down in the snow again. If we accept that it may be the case that this clock is up to 10 minutes slow, that it may be at the latest 1:09, which is when the bus is supposed to come. I cut the route off at Griswold several minutes ago, meaning there is no possible way I missed the bus, unless the bus came early. Documentation, it's important. Look at the snow. Can you see the snow? This is quite nice. See, I don't mind it when it's like this. This is actually beautiful. If it was like this all year. If I could just like grow a jacket. Splice me the DNA, grow me a jacket. Anyways, I'm at the bus stop, and if I miss the bus, some heads are gonna roll. I'll tell you that. No, for real though, the snow, it's coming down just lightly. If you're far enough north, you know what this is like. Just that light, fluffy snow. It's not even fluffy. Like they're not really snowflakes. They're not like, it's not a flaky snow. It's just well, it's not granulated either. It's if they were bigger, they would be flakes. It's like a flake drizzle. Not enough to be a flake, but certainly a flake in intent, if we can assign intent to the snow. Talk about anthropomorphizing things. Wow. But that's nonetheless exactly what this is. It's a very small flake. And it's quite nice. It's very, it's peaceful here. There's not There is somebody else here, but I mean, it's not populated. Most of the time when I'm down here, there is nobody else here. And it's very very peaceful. See, eventually we'll have the technology that I can program the temperature. And you'll put on a virtual reality device. And you'll feel the snow coming down on you. As you feel the... I think the wind is actually coming from the south. And I'm saying that because it's not a cold wind. It's actually more of a moist wind. But it's cold enough to snow, so it's still brisk. But it's not bitter. And like I say, you'll be able to put that device on, and you'll feel that. Which might be bloody hell if you live around here, but might be kind of nice if you live somewhere else. I am indeed on the bus, so all is well. It better have been because I was there very early today, so all is well. So, as silly as that is, it's very true. Home on the quiet now. Don't you even think about that. I'm home. I'm not anywhere near our range. It's irrational. I'm a little warm though. I dressed for this. Okay, I plan to be out. I've got jacket, inside jacket, sweater, the sweater that I wore. Alright, I'm wearing 2 pairs of socks. 2 pairs of socks, baby. Okay, that is preparing for the cold. And that actually is the way you know that you've prepared for the cold. You can do whatever you want. If you've only worn 1 pair of socks, then you are not serious. And no matter what else you do, 2 pairs of socks, that indicates serious cold preparation. I need to take my jacket off. I'll be back in a sec. Sorry. Because as we all know, preparing for the cold also means overheating once you get inside. How did I do tonight? Well, I had 3 cigarettes. Okay, that's not the end of the world. But like I say, I had this sort of moment where I realized, wait a second, I was smoking because I was concerned about blood clots. It does not make any sense for me to have a cigarette at a concert. But I did make it home. I am okay. I haven't had a stroke yet. Let's cross our fingers on that one. It's probably obvious I found a little bit of Christmas present, and that is good. That at least justifies the cigarettes, but that can happen. Okay, even if I'm up all night, like the whole... I completely forgot. I completely forgot that the reason that I stopped smoking was because I was concerned about the estrogen with the nicotine. It was just like, well, maybe when I go out... No! It can't happen. It has to be cold turkey. It has to be no more. Never again. That has to be for real, okay? There can be no second option here. That has to be how things are. How things will be forever. Amen. Okay? That has to be how it is. Alright? So let's say a silly prayer for the God that doesn't exist. And make it so. For the God that does exist. It's not even the real Star Trek. I've been over this. Alright? It's fake Star Trek. Alright? Even if it tends to make for very convenient turns of phrase, it's still fake Star Trek. Okay? But like I said, I had a couple. I'm in good spirits. And I haven't had a stroke yet. Let's hope I don't. But I mean, I can't. It's no more. next time I go out, it'll be I think 10 days from now on the 26th. I need to make it a zero cigarette policy. I don't know how many drinks I'll have. I don't know how much Christmas present I'll run into, but it can be zero tolerance for the cigarettes. Like I can't forget it. You know, it's just like forget about it. It's gone. It's in the past. It's something I used to do. Bye bye. No more. Alright, so I'd like to resume my non-scheduled broadcast here. It was a good show. I'm glad I went. As you can see, I'm feeling rather silly. That's always positive. And we got a little lost in one song. Maybe somebody's got some shots of that. That'd be fun. Something that I noticed during the show is that it seems like people were taking pictures of me as though they recognize me. Like, you're pathetic. I'm sorry. I'm nobody. Like, if you're gonna take pictures of me, like, I'm there to take pictures of the band or somebody. I'm just, like, I'm nobody. Don't take pictures of me, sweetie. Never, like, don't bother, okay? You know? But of course, you know, I just kind of sit quietly. I pretend as though I don't notice. I often pretend as though I don't notice, so you never know what I notice. No, seriously, I have an excellent poker face. You have no idea what I'm recognizing and what I'm not. You know, like I might write some of it out, or nowadays I might write some of it down. But you don't have a clue what I am taking note of, and I can guarantee you that it is more than you think. Much more. Much, 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 much more than you would ever think. Shoe types. Yeah. Eye colors. You need to be careful. Because it'll... Not very long, mind you. But I do take note of things. Much, much, much more. But the poker face, you have no idea. And you are warned. And it is all fair game. But just don't take pictures of, well, I'm not gonna stop you. That's the thing. I'm not gonna be like, no. I'll let you do it. Okay, and I will not let on that I even realize that you're doing it. Okay, but don't do it. I mean, I'm not important. You know? We're gonna look back at your pictures in 10 years, and you're not even gonna know who that is. Okay, just don't waste your time, okay? Anyways, I'm home. All is well. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go, like, play on the internet for a bit. And I don't know what's next. I'm sure I'll get to a little bit of archiving. I'll probably go to sleep early, though, because I'm feeling a little silly.